Welcome back, everybody, to our player interview series. Today we have my special guest, Luke,
Yes, I am Cletus Gilmore. I'm a dwarf rogue,
the
and
longest playing player in the campaign,
yes,
highest level.
most experience points. Been there, through the highs and lows, through all of it. Most for the most part.
Still managed to never die yet. Still alive.
Been close. Surprisingly, have
Yeah,
not died yet.
couple of close ones.
Yeah, yeah. Some uncanny dodginess, which we will sure get into later on, has helped with that.
Made you pretty tanky.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so first question here: campaign wise, and or just playing the session wise, what do you want more of? More of what everyone's doing and partaking in, be it like scenes or
I like it when things move forward.
definitely.
I just, I think at times, and I'm guilty of this as well, at times I think we can sort of harp on things a little bit too long on things that don't necessarily, in the grand scheme of things, mean a lot. So
Definitely.
when we get to a certain, shouldn't say checkpoint, but like a certain major goal that we get to, I want to get into it, get us on the road as soon as we can. Um, I guess sort of in a way, for that, I kind of like to have more major checkpoints to go toward, kind of more major plot lines to follow. So I do kind of that's kind of the way I want it to go, like just more.
More like objective goals,
Yeah,
more like
exactly.
obvious,
More,
like
I guess, more fabricated, like
milestones you can
long
actually
term ambitions, as you kind of call
accomplish.
them. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, it's just it helps to keep the plot moving along a certain way.
Yeah, the definitely these past couple of sessions that sort of has gotten lost
Yeah,
over the course of the session.
I think we can get on these certain tangents where we get in our own way.
At
So
this point, multiple sessions ago, you guys were gonna go to Torzun Savoy and do this situation with the Pit Fiend, and then
and we
that
have
ended up getting pushed to the back multiple sessions in a row now.
simply just not done it. I wasn't there for half of one session, which perhaps you could blame that on me not being there, or if I was there, perhaps things could have gone differently.
I have a feeling I guess it's hard to say.
It's
But
true. Yeah, perhaps more cohesiveness is kind of the way, but that's all in the party too. Every party is different. We're not going to have the same group of people more than once, usually in a row.
true.
Uh, and that's just the nature of the game. So, yeah, the fluidity and the cohesiveness is kind of something we need to work on. It's working toward these long term ambitions, kind of.
Yeah, I can definitely incorporate some more of that into the campaign. And I've got second question. You kind of already answered this a little bit, but what do you want less of?
Yeah,
What do we spend too much time doing? When are
yeah.
you not having fun at the table?
I would say not having fun. I mean, because there's I think you kind of touched on this before, but like there's just comedic relief in some of the ridiculous tangents that we go on. But I try to be when I'm at the table, I try to be one of the more level-headed players at the table.
Oh yeah, I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, because I know you put a ton of effort into this stuff, so I don't want it to go unnoticed and to go like all for naught, basically. So I do try to keep things
Yeah,
moving
you
forward
do
as much
not
as I
run up to
can.
random people and try to kill them and just
Yeah, I Cletus is a character that is seemingly always looking for his next adventure. He thinks a lot about things. I guess that's kind of in my nature as well.
mm-hmm.
He tries to weigh all of the options and uh, sort of take opinions from others in the group, and that can also sort of lead to tangents as well. Just by asking a bunch of opinions and allowing more people input can also just create a snowball effect of tangents. So
Like that is the meat of the game is
true.
sitting around and discussing, but there's definitely a sort of bell curve type of arc where it's like at first nothing useful has been said, and then at some point everyone has like delivered their main arguments or
Yeah.
over whatever the discussion is, and then at some point you get everyone just starts repeating what they've said, and
Yeah.
it's just like, okay guys, we need to come to a conclusion, like we need to all
Yeah.
just choose something.
We tend to get to a place and then we like extract something from it, and then like we reach a consensus and then still kind of float some options around
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
couple minutes, and it's like, and afterward we're just like, okay, we're just gonna do this, like what we decided on
Yeah,
however many
yeah.
minutes ago.
Yeah, like they definitely
So
they always start strong and entertaining, and then it reaches like that. Like
yeah,
that's what I need to. I don't know exactly how to solve. Like I
Get
try my
the
best.
get the code names,
Yeah.
the hourglass, and just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like at some point, or sometimes I'll just be like, all right, like this has like I've just decided like things start happening, just like
yeah.
so and so shows
An
up, or, like,
NPC, is say taking a shot at you. Take a reflex save. Do anything to keep it moving.
yeah,
Basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay, so less of you would say letting conversations just spiral
Yeah.
out of control into.
yeah, and that falls kind of on the players as well. I love to have more combat, more dungeons, more action. I like to cram as much into a session as possible.
Uh-huh.
But also, like I said before, like I think you touched on it, like just the conversation of figuring out what we want to do next. Like that's a fun part of it. And you think, to your credit, you have a good mix of dungeons and battles and a bunch of just riffraff in the middle as that as well.
I think there's certainly been more discussion lately than there was when we started.
For sure.
At the beginning, there was a lot of just like, let's go here, kill these people, and then
Yeah.
But you guys have started. You've met some NPCs that you have connections with now.
And the plot has become more twisted. There are a lot of different roads. I mean, right now I can think of 4, 5 different ways that we could choose to go with the next adventure.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
not just like a straightforward adventure, which is good.
Yeah.
And that can lead to these longer discussions that kind of pull us away from what we may think our common goal is.
All right. Have you had any favorite session or any favorite scene? Any memorable moment that really stands out that has occurred?
A few.
Okay.
Immediately, what I think of is I think it was Tyler, who's Darkwathlis,
Oh,
Gabe,
yeah.
who's Adrian, and myself when we defeated Marquise. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I had like the final like critical hit rolled in that 20 hit like I basically I think Tyler, either Tyler or Gabe was like engaged with him. So I had to roll extremely well to not hit either one of them, and rolled a nat 20 on a crossbow, just pinned the living crap out of this guy, killed him. And then later on, however many sessions later, when we go to the pyramids and then back into hell, and Marquise is just there in hell, I thought that was extremely some creative stuff. So I enjoy anything that kind of has a certain level of maybe mystery, or like I wouldn't say paranormal, but like a little extra normal. I don't know exactly how the way to say it. Like not something that necessarily happens in the real world. Like pyramids, you're not going to see in the real world, no matter what. Nothing you're going to see pyramids, like ancient pyramid, like going into the pyramids and stuff like that. Like that's all in movies and stuff like that. Like the pyramids exist, yes, but like all these corridors and whatnot, where these closing doors and everything, like it's not like a typical.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot of mechanisms.
Yeah, exactly.
Inside.
And you can make the same argument for dungeons as well, but like the going into the pyramids and hell, things like that to me was really cool. So like dealing with technically not living creatures is really interesting. Although I'm not as well equipped to fight them,
that is true.
So that's the only thing that kind of stinks about it. But like it's something that piques my interest a lot. So any kind of those two, that one in particular was really cool for me.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of mysteries so far, honestly, but I should definitely try to get some more in there. I do think they could be. They're just fun little, constant like dramatic questions in the background.
Yeah,
where you're always like, "Ooh, what if this is connected to this?"
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not really something I considered, but I do think that could be valuable.
Mystery is good. It's just like, we also as players have a lot on our plate. We have a lot written down, a lot of different directions as well. I know you have a ton on your plate, and it's just it's tough sometimes to it's I have a hard time keeping track sometimes, like because there's a lot going on, and I'm very new to RPGs, so like I have to write some more things down. So like mysteries would be like tougher on me to do, but like it's what I crave very highly. So
They can be tough to run because they rely on you finding clues leading you to the next clues.
yeah,
So I either have to like ensure that you find these clues,
mm,
which can either be tough because I either have to like just make it easier and or obvious,
yeah,
or I need to make it not matter if you don't find a given clue.
yeah,
Um, so which can just I feel like usually you write a mystery with either like top down, like what the answer is, then you have to figure out all these things about how they figure out what the answer is.
yeah,
And then if at any point there's a clue here that for whatever reason, because there's so many things that can happen over the course of a game where like you guys don't interact with the clue that is necessary for you guys to continue.
yeah. I can see where that poses a lot of along the way issues for a DM and for a player as well.
But I do
Yeah.
like them. I do think they are worth trying to run.
Mm,
And especially because you can have like just two-step mysteries where it's just like there's this clue that helps you discover the answer to this problem,
mm.
rather than like this clue leads to this clue leads to this clue leads to this clue.
And we have had, I mean, we've had artifacts that lead us to certain people in certain places. So while they might not be mysteries because we kind of know about them, it does turn us into different directions that a mystery kind of would.
Yeah.
So while it's not a technical mystery per se, we've kind of had certain elements of almost this scavenger type hunt type of deal.
Yeah. Like there definitely have been sessions with like elements of
Mm,
that.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, I got another question. Got a favorite NPC? Any NPC you want to see more of? And or possibly character like fellow PC if you want.
Um, as far as NPCs go, I mean, we've dealt a lot with Father Gimo.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, like I remember, were they? I don't know if they were grave robbers or whatever they were, but they were in the garden behind the chapel.
Yeah.
Um, he's led us to some certain interesting elements. Him one of being one of the few survivors of Borzu. It was good to see him survive, and so you kind of feel I've kind of felt a certain attachment to him because he has helped my character Cletus a lot along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just with some very difficult battles and just certain issues that I had in my past with like my brother dying and like haunting me, like essentially kind of haunting me uh to do good. And then I got some
Yeah, no, literally
yeah,
haunting. Like
yeah.
that, yeah.
So getting advice from Father Gimo was major multiple times in that. So like it's kind of one of those tit for tat type of deals where like I've gone to him for advice. He's given me good advice, given me holy water for certain battles,
Mm-hmm.
and so and we've helped him vice versa. It's probably flipped about 4 or 5 times. It's been a good sort of relationship. Um, to your credit too, like you do well with the NPCs. Like I always joke about how much I hate goblins. But like I actually do enjoy them because like the banter with them is just so great because they're like the way you do it, like it's just like they're so annoying, but like they're so entertainingly annoying if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just like yeah, there's good banter with NPCs a lot. That could also go back to us spending too much time on stuff, but we need some comedic relief in the sessions, and I think the NPCs definitely can bring that. Um,
Yeah, I do worry that I do err towards the comedic with the NPCs.
mhm.
I do think also Father Guimau, like I don't, he doesn't have too much of a real character
There's not
to
much
him.
substance to him.
He's just a priest.
Yeah,
But I do want to elevate him into that third dimension where he actually
yeah,
has like I guess he's got motivation in that he wants to support his church and religion and
yeah.
help people and generally be a good person. But
As far as like enemies that we've dealt with too, like I thought Larius Payne was kind of interesting. Just like uh, kind of this cat and mouse chase with him for a while, and then we find out, he's only like a henchman for this corpse weaver that we still have yet to even really go after, kind of in the way that I would like to. I mean, just sort of this kind of goes back to that same thing with Hell and the pyramids and everything, or like that was a capstone cornerstone of this sort of campaign for me, and he was a major factor in that. So he was a well put together NPC. So as far as like enemies goes, I enjoyed that a lot too.
Yeah, Lurius, he had a bunch of gimmicks going on. That's what Father Guimau is missing. Father
Yeah.
Guimau needs a gimmick.
Yeah, but as far as like I guess you would say like a good contact, he's one good contact for what we have.
Yeah. You guys certainly have had a lot of interactions with him
Mhm.
since the beginning of the campaign.
Yeah.
Okay, and/or player characters. Any of your fellow players you have any fondness for in particular?
I can speak on all of them. I mean, like Humdu, I just like his sort of just like he'll do whatever he just marches to his own beat, does whatever the fuck he wants. Just we'll just go up to a character and beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, it is
You
good to
know.
have that wild card
Yeah.
character. Can really make things interesting when things are
Yeah.
otherwise becoming slow.
He can get us into some trouble, but he can also get us out of it with a lot of just like with his fist
Punching
basically.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he makes for some funny interactions with a lot of the NPCs.
Yeah, he's definitely making enemies.
Yeah.
He's really good at that.
Adrian with like his like bardic inspiration has bailed a lot of characters out multiple times. Adrian, you kind of feel bad for what's going on with his family sort of behind the scenes. So I don't know if I can touch on that too much quite yet, but it's some good stuff going on with him.
Yeah, he's definitely got like a he's definitely a person to rally around that
Oh, for sure.
causes people to go out and do things, is following him on whatever he's getting up to at any given time.
Yeah, I enjoyed Darkwaffles too. When Darkwaffles was a big oaf, what was he?
A barbarian.
Barbarian. That's right.
Yeah.
Big barbarian, and then all of a sudden became a magic user after pulling a
Yeah.
card from the deck of many things.
Definitely, possibly the biggest character development that has
Yeah,
occurred in
for
anyone,
sure.
even though it's not motivated by any
Yeah, it
narrative dramatic thing, just a
Yeah, just happened
random
to-
magic
by
effect.
one card. So that I thought was pretty cool. Dealing with that character in two completely different personalities or setups was quite good. So yeah, and like new additions to the group, like Mang is kind of cool. Like Mang is a good character addition. Very sort of like very thoughtful, but also in her own ways, like not wanting to, wants to keep that ring and everything. Also has some banter with the NPCs, and like the Duke specifically.
Yeah,
So
she definitely has got a bit of that trademark humdo.
yeah, the flair.
Yeah, but she commits to it a lot less than humdo.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
She'll back down very quickly if the
Yeah.
NPC is like, blah, 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 blah. But humdo
Humdu will,
Da-da-da-da.
Humdu will insult somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you envision for Cletus Gilmore? Future, possibly arcs, maybe specific scenes, or possibly, just anything in the future that you'd like to have happen with him.
Well, I mean, we've recently reclaimed the old dwarven hold that my ancestors or those before me had at one point that was overtaken by trolls, and we were able to take over the trolls back, take over the hold again from the trolls.
Mhm.
So I would hope that at some point he can sort of restore some of the glory back to that hold, and also get in contact with members of the hold from his family, from
Yeah, they could start coming
Yeah.
back and then
That-
repopulating it.
that is one of my goals, to get the word out there to them, to try to get them back to restore some glory, potentially even work for us in our favor down the road. Whether that be, if he has to go to battle with them, or not against them, like with them, as a band of brothers, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have some of them on our side. Yeah, I just regaining some touch with his family, because it was a rocky start with him because he wasn't necessarily like he was kind of like the black sheep of the family a little bit. He was a little bit, it
Yeah.
wasn't as honest and everything, and then that's how he ended up being on the road. So he has sort of ever since the death of his brother and his brother coming back to him and the letter from his father, he sort of has changed to be a much better dwarf, and he wants to restore some glory to those before him. So that I think is something that we can do down the road.
Do you um I guess what do you imagine his retirement looking like? Do you think there will be a point in his life where he, settles down?
Retirement, that's a tough question. It's weird because I feel like he has such a attachment to this band of brothers that he's with now.
Yeah.
He'll go to bat for all of them. If things start to die down and they feel as everybody's kind of met a lot of their ambitions, then perhaps down the road he might consider retiring. But I think as of now, I mean, he is an older character, but
Yeah.
he is like he
Not
definitely
super old for a
like
dwarf.
for a dwarf, yeah. He's still going strong. I mean, I don't think retirement's anything that's immediately on the horizon yet, but if he's getting called back to his homeland or to his family, then maybe it's something he might consider. It all really depends on the situation.
What do you think are some of the greatest, I don't know, challenges that he might, like, for instance, maybe with bringing his family back, maybe there is some. I guess we've sort of established that at least your father is a fan of you.
Yeah.
He's saying a pretty amicable letter.
Mm.
Um, like there could be maybe people that you have a more negative relationship that you have to fix. Like that could be an arc to pursue.
Yeah.
I don't know if you necessarily like possibly at this point those merchants that you stole from at some point.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have reasonable suspicion that they weren't doing really savory business.
Yeah. It's weird because it's going to be hard for him to kind of detach himself from his past a little bit, or I guess it's tougher for the people of the hold to detach themselves from his past, his reputation, whatever. They're certainly not aware of the way that he's changed over time. So that's certainly a major hurdle as far as the reputation goes.
Yeah.
He has changed sort of his outlook to really uh, prioritize having a good reputation, with his group and with the town of Borzu. He was trying to have a good reputation, and then of course that doesn't exist really in the same light anymore. Um, so yeah, he's going to have a lot of convincing to do, and it's going to go through a lot of bounds to get to
Yeah, I do think that could be interesting if people of the clan of Gilmore are kind of hesitant to engage with your shenanigans
that.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, he's going to have to prove himself, whether in battle or in gifts, or I mean, the fact that he's restoring glory to
Yeah, he did
the
recover the
hold
hold. That's gonna be pretty
yeah.
hard for
I
anyone
mean,
to argue
it's
with.
very hard. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard for them to say that he's not doing anything for them when he's literally restoring their homeland in a way. So,
Yeah.
and making a major effort to bring it back to its glory. So
Maybe there could still be some revenge desired against these trolls.
Yeah.
Since
yeah,
they messed with you guys
yeah,
bad.
exactly. And there's also they could always have a concern that maybe that I'm taking credit for something that I didn't actually do. With restoring the hold. So who knows? That's something for down the line for sure.
Maybe you could go full genocide against the trolls and then start to find out some of them aren't actually that bad.
Well, yeah, Cletus
Maybe.
hates trolls, so I mean, and the clan certainly hates trolls. So yeah, he was very angry at last couple encounters with them.
Maybe a Legolas type thing, or like Legolas and Gimli, where they're, an elf and dwarf. They normally don't really like each other,
So
but their whole thing is that they learn to become friends with each other.
yeah,
So maybe you can learn to become friends with a troll.
yeah,
And then you have to choose your troll friend versus your family,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
I have a feeling you're probably not ever choosing that troll though. Okay. All right. So, do you think there's any areas in the game that you like have a desire to like improve in particular?
Good question. I'm still like getting. I've done a. I mean, I have the most, I guess, most experience in this specific campaign, but it's my first real campaign I've ever been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do role playing as much as I can. However, sometimes I can get lazy with it. Just like honestly keeping track of where I'm at in certain situations. Like, I mean, just like certain rules, like what exactly I should do in certain scenarios. What is the proper play in each scenario is kind of like it's still kind of what I'm figuring out. Uh, Whether that be with my special talents or whatever. Like a lot of time, I do rely on you. I'm asking you a lot of questions during the session. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of wish I could just rely more on myself and my knowledge sometimes, but I'm still kind of a newbie,
There's
so
still a lot to forget and a lot to remember.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, so I think that's one of the things I kind of have to just improve on is just like figuring out the proper play in each scenario. I don't know if you have noticed anything that I need to
I
kind
do
of
think you've
improve on.
generally done pretty good.
Hmm.
Like with the rogue, especially. Like you always remember the assassin thing. I always forget that you
Yeah.
have that. You seem to make pretty good use out of that, and
Hmm.
you always seem to get sneak attacks whenever they're available. So I
Yeah.
think combat wise, you definitely do a pretty good job.
Hmm.
And yeah, role play that can be tough for everyone.
Hmm.
Um,
I do kind of. I think I should really inquire more about certain checks that I should do during playing, like whether it be for perception, deception, checking for locks. I mean, I'm usually pretty on point with like checking for locks or anything like that because I'm good with thievery and thieves tools and everything like that. Just yeah, kind of just want to get better with making the proper play is kind of the best way I can answer that.
yeah, well, asking more questions, I think it was always a good direction to go towards.
Mhm.
Um, where are we at? All right, yeah. So you think you got anything in mind that I can change to maybe make this a little easier? Like, so I guess in this instance, or maybe not know, because I feel like you're definitely on the lower end of people who make the game take longer at any given moment
Yeah.
based on whatever is happening. So like I really don't think that you particularly struggle in the like not knowing what to do
Mm.
department. Um, yeah, maybe I should like I probably have let scenes drag longer, especially now that we've changed into this new sort of era where there's a lot of just people discussing and figuring out what they want to do next, and then me telling you what happens when you guys try to do that.
Yeah.
I definitely should just cut off scenes sooner. I
Yeah.
feel like I kind of leave it up to the players sometimes for them to decide when the scene is over when they all
Mhm.
get bored. But I do feel like I should probably more often just be like, okay, guys, and at this point we're moving. Like it can be tough though, because if you guys still haven't come to a decision yet, and I'm
Yeah.
still waiting like on the answer.
And that's kind of on us though. Like, we kind of have to come to decisions a little bit quicker at times. So,
Yeah, man. Like
yeah.
maybe I should just have more NPCs with you guys occasionally, so that you guys can just like when people start getting tired of this scene going on for a long time, you can just ask them, and then they'll
Yeah.
give you
Yeah.
their best. I do feel like even though I try to play my NPCs, not acting in their own best interest and
Mhm.
what have you, and but I feel like players just have a tendency to trust these NPCs. I haven't had a whole lot of
Yeah.
mistrust in them so far.
Mhm.
So I'll have to, make some more. I'll have to have you guys get betrayed more often, I think.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's some of the NPCs can be kind of like I said earlier, I'm talking about goblins and stuff. They can be annoying at times, but like typically we do kind of trust them a lot, and that's where like kind of like rolling for deception or something is kind of important to see
Hmm.
if they're actually telling us the truth, if they're leading us astray. But yeah, I would say we do kind of err on the side of blind trust in these NPCs a little bit.
All right, I got it. Last question. So is there anything you're looking forward to, just grand scope of the campaign wise? Like not necessarily directly related to Cletus, though possibly directly related to Cletus.
Um, well, we are kind of in the process, like I said, of making a new settlement to like this dwarven hold.
Hmm.
But that I guess I shouldn't say it's short term, but I don't think it's super far into the future. But we have a lot of problems that we have to rid of right now. Like we have this major thing with the corpse weaver that we just really have not gotten into at all. Really haven't gotten into the pit fiend at all. So just in the grand scope thing, it's weird. It's just like one at a time, really. But like continuing to rid this area of Iogolia from evil is kind of what we need to continue to do. Whether that be uh, something that's living, if it's something that's paranormal or spectral, it's we have been working toward it and just have to continue to do that for a while.
Yeah, some killing evil stuff.
Yeah,
I can work with that.
yeah, I know it's very basic answer now that I think
That's fine.
about
I guess that's what I should have expected with this.
yeah,
I could have set
but
you up for that.
yeah, but every battle is becoming more and more important, kind of as it goes on. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I mean each boss, like the Corpse Weaver boss, is very intriguing to me right now. But we've got a lot of fact finding to do for that, so that's gonna be a little while to figuring out what
I did want to also ask you about the hold. I imagine if your father is still alive and he comes back, you would probably manage it or be in control of it to
we're doing.
some extent. But did you have any, like, did you want to try to use it for anything, like either in a more defensive direction with it and make it like a real military outpost thing that you can be safe in, or you could try to make it into a more economic thing where you try to use it to make as much money as possible?
My initial thought was more military based, just like as sort of a base camp kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would be. I mean, it's like very far north. I think it would be tough to make it more of like a city kind of. I mean, it could always, if we have dwarven merchants, it would be nice. But we are kind of out of a lot of the way, I guess, sort of. Economic plan wasn't necessarily much of what I was thinking of, but we obviously you do need some way to supply the people there with what they need to live, and there's going to be people that have to go out to get certain resources, nutrients for the people that live there, whether that be further out in the hills or in a nearby place. It's it's more the hold itself. I think is going to be more military based, but outside of that, I think we could perhaps flourish around it
And you'll probably need more people to populate it as
for
well,
sure.
rather than just the dwarves of your clan.
Yeah.
So do you have anyone in mind that you think you might be able to, you like just peasants to work for you?
Um.
You can try to attract migrants and or refugees or.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought too far into that, but like I don't know if there's other dwarven clans that we have like particularly good contact with. Um, that's something we could perhaps if they were to want to live there, if they have a need to live there, certainly could.
Usually
Uh,
like economic opportunity is like like if someone thinks there's a good job out here or
mm,
a way to make a lot of money,
yeah.
then they would be willing to move out to where you are.
Yeah, like, and also, I mean, to that point, I mean, if there is economic opportunity, it would make sense to have migrants or peasants or whatever to work there. It's just going to be hard to make it more so of a town because like we're basically it was stripped from us, and now we have to strip it back from the trolls to something that is more hospitable for us. So it'd take a lot of effort and a lot of manpower. Whether that be building huts all over, if there was an idea to build streets, whatever, like whatever is needed, potentially to make an economic sort of impact. It's a possibility. It's just not something I've kind of thought too far in the future for
You
quite
got the
yet.
golf course. You
Yeah.
could have nobles come over,
Exactly.
pay a
Yeah.
lot of money to play there.
Yeah. I actually did think about that as like a way of attracting people,
You
but
would have to make it really, really nice, though. You'd have to make it a real
yeah,
Marriott
it is definitely very
experience.
rugged at this point. I mean, the hills are quite an attraction themselves, but like actually keeping them running
Yeah.
is
You know
one
how
thing.
much water you have to
Exactly.
mow it every single. Oh, I
Yeah.
should have specified just how overgrown.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, there's no way.
Like 3 foot tall grass.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to hire a team of people with scythes just to clear it out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. Did you have any closing remarks?
Just, I mean, like I said, I've been enjoying it. Like I said, this is the first time I've really immersed myself into a big RPG sort of campaign. So I've been enjoying it. Just keeping with it. It's something that I've always kind of wanted to do, and it's a good escape from sort of reality a little bit to have this sort of separate reality that you delve into
Yeah.
for every once in a while. So I have been enjoying that a lot. I was able to draw like a picture of my character, kind of
Oh yeah.
what I think
yeah.
he looks like. I don't have it on me. I could use it as a video thumbnail or something.
Oh, I'll
Potentially.
definitely include it.
But it's cool because you can kind of visualize what this world is like. The more you can visualize it, the more you immerse yourself in the experience, and the better it becomes. So, like I said, I've been enjoying it a lot, and I look forward to what we have going on in the future.
Yeah, well, talking through this has definitely been helpful. There were some blatantly obvious things that I think I kind of maybe didn't really give them as much. Like I don't know. I like just talking about things like the ending scenes earlier. I don't
Mhm.
think I would have really put as much thought into it in the future if I didn't explicitly say it out loud. So it's always useful to talk with someone about that.
Yeah,
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for indulging me in this interview.
of course.
I will.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. See you guys later.
All right, bye.